Welcome to a very special edition of Worldwide Magazine. Why is it special? Well, it's not special because it's really great or anything like that. It's just special because we're saluting a fellow broadcaster that has fallen upon some very hard times. We're talking about Carl Hepp. What happened to Carl Hepp? Well, he was on TCI Cable in the city on Channel 21, the local origination station, and he got kicked off, or should we say canceled. Why? Because he was bad-mouthing Double Helix, and they didn't like that. So tonight we're going to spend an hour, yes, believe it or not, a whole hour with Carl Hepp to talk about what happened and just to act stupid. So here's Carl Hepp, and sit back, relax, and enjoy another edition of Worldwide Magazine.
Hello, my name is Putzi Schweinspiegel, and I come to St. Louis because I am on a rocket trip from Berlin, from the German Democratic Republic. Now we come to you in St. Louis quite by accident, because our equipment in certain aspects is not too good. We don't have much control. Like I say, there's lots of explosions when we are fueling up, and the reason we got that is because we use a lot of old fuel from the fuel dumps from the V2 rockets, you see, and it's very, very touchy. And in this case, when I left Berlin very rapidly, what happened was that they were loading the fuel, and suddenly the fuel went off and the rocket went up, right? So we didn't know where we were going or what, because we didn't have time. We were figuring on going to California, but we didn't get that far, right? So what would happen here, we come to St. Louis for about the third time already, because the stuff is so hard to handle, you know, and our people. And you want to know my name, right? So you say, who is this guy anyway from Berlin? Wait a minute, I got to tell you a story too after this. I want to tell you the story. Now wait a minute. My name is Putzi Schweinstengel. Or is it Spiegel? I don't know. Putzi Schweinspiegel. That's a pigeon told me. He nodded all right. We got some pigeons over there. We're not very technical, you know, but because of our budget is not very big, you know. So we got pigeons over there. We bring them along on the rocket. Incidentally, I get you. It's just all mixed up, but I'm pretty shook up from 2 days ago when I came down. I'm going to talk in the various ways here because there's lots of things in my mind still rattling around from that crash, you see. So I met a fellow here in St. Louis. He's an Afghani man. He comes from Afghanistan. And he was one of them the freedom fighters against the Russians. And he gave me a job, see, because I don't have no money to get back. I can't buy an airline ticket, not like this. I'm in terrible shape. And I have no money, so I have to do a little job here. And I talked to Mr. Parisi here. Is that his name Polizzi or what? Polizzi. Yeah, Mr. Polizzi here. And he introduced me to this fellow, the Russian guy, no, the Afghanistani. And he gave me a job. He says, well, you work a little bit, study the aero maps of St. Louis, and you can make a few bucks for an airline ticket back to Berlin. In the meantime, we're fattening the pigeons up. We come with a whole group of pigeons on board, so that we get somewhere we can't afford a telephone and let them know where we were. They are all fattening up and getting a lot of string, you know, to go flapping back to Berlin and let them know where Putzi Schweinspiegel finally ended up, see? So now, oh, there's a duck. That ain't nothing to do with us. It's not a mechanical duck or nothing. It's not a German thing there. That's nothing to do about to do. that's a rocket ship. It went backwards down into the ground back there, and it dug a big hole. And the city people from St. Louis, they came and threw rocks around it, and that's the top of the rocket ship. And then they plugged the holes in there from the fire department. They were here too. They were nice guys, and they plugged the fire hose in there, and they made that water go up so it cools down, so there's no explosion. A couple of years ago, back there on the other side, I think it was about 5 years ago, we landed here again, but we landed on a hotel, you see? So that was what was left from the hotel. And back there, you see down the rocks and stones back there, so that was what's left, and they brought it over here to this spot. And then we are talking here again. We must have some kind of homing device that keeps coming back to the same place. So to get the idea of what's going on. I understand, well, here's the safety device that they, see, we were very short on various things here. This is a safety device that the boys over there in Berlin, they put together for me, but it really didn't do any good because my name now is Fritzi Spiderspingel. I don't remember exactly. Every time that's a big jar, and it mixes up my name with all the other people that I knew in Berlin, all right? So I couldn't tell you exactly. Another name comes Arno Himmelproben, Himmelpappen. Yeah, that's the other name that I come up with. But it's either Jake Smith or Arno Himmelpappen or Freddy Budkicker. Yeah, Freddy Budkicker. That's one name too. I can't remember who I was, but it comes back to me eventually, you know. Then I hear here in St. Louis, there's a big brouhaha over there. There's a place with a fellow named Carl Hepp. Is that his name? Yeah. And he's got trouble here with a certain regime that infiltrated here years ago in an organization that he used to work for. And I understand he got booted. Yeah, he got booted from there. And I understand there's a big brouhaha over that. So we're going to sort of keep an eye on that for another day or two until I get enough taxi money. This Russian guy that I know, he said he'd give me a gun, and I can make the fare much quicker that way, you know. You dump people out in faraway places, take their money, and I'll be in Berlin before you know it, right? So looking very forward. My name is Franz Wolf Stindenspitzer. I don't even think that's right. Vogel Beer Trinker? That's Vogel. That sounds familiar too. Yeah. Klaus von Mueller? That's a good name. I think I'm one of those people that previously mentioned, right? So we have this organization in Germany that we use up all the old rocket parts and all the old rocket fuels that's in those dumpsters and so on, that they throw them in there to keep them safe. But we get in there at night and we drain them into little bags. What we do is put them in the hot water bottles. We put them in hot water bottles, and that way nobody suspects. We put them on our neck like that. We're doing us some good. But one time, what was that guy's? Klaus von Mueller was walking along and jiggled a little bit too much and blew his neck right off, right through, and his head was standing up. It was a sight. Since he had to go, it was something very interesting. It was the head up on top, but no neck. And there was Vogel underneath, or Klaus. That was Klaus. Right. Vogel, something else happened to him too. There's a very interesting story. If I got enough time, I'll tell you about Vogel too. All right. So then we take this stuff over to the rocket launch, which is in the big, you know, Berlin is a big forest there. That's not just a city. That's a big forest, and we go in the forest real quietly. We bring all the parts over. It looks like a gazebo, a lot like that. So we painted up with pretty colors and everything. They think that we are installing a gazebo in the park in Berlin. But then we come with the hot water bottles and so on. We had these kids' pools we fill up, and we walk very slowly, don't slosh it. And then what happened was that we filled up with the hot water bottles. That goes good. But when you get the kids' pool, all of a sudden you start to lift it up like that stuff starts to run, and it goes real fast, and it goes down into the tube, and then suddenly we couldn't control it, and they said, bye-bye, Klaus von Becker. I think that's who I am. They said bye-bye. They had a moment yet to holler at me, and that's what happened, see? And then boom, big booming, spritzing, earing, breaking sounds that came, and I tell you, that was quite a shock. I wasn't ready to go yet. And I thought, I wonder where I'm going to end up yet. And I went over the ocean, and it was so pretty looking down there, and the fire was in the back of me. That really the main thing that happened here was when I came to the point where we had the impact, and a lot of that metal wasn't bolting down too good, you know. So bolting down it wasn't, and it come shooting up at me, and it was wonder again that I was not killed. Every year or two we have another launching, and everybody said, well, let Carl von Bacon do that. So let him get in there, right? Because he seemed to be a pretty lucky guy. He went up about 12 times and crashed 12 times, and he never was killed. And all these other guys, you know, Klaus von Müller, he got his neck blown off. And Ludmilla Frank, that was the girlfriend von Klaus von Müller. She was with him, but they never found her. It was when that explosion that was real close to the neck, they found that part, because whatever the configuration of the explosion is, and there's people in Berlin that know all about explosion configurations, you know. So that neck went, but I tell you, Ludmilla Frank, I don't think there was nothing. There was just complete vaporization of Ludmilla. They never found nothing from her. But it really didn't matter. It was nobody's girlfriend but Klaus's, right? So Klaus wasn't there, Ludmilla wasn't there, so it didn't really matter. Her papa, he didn't care for her because she was running around with Klaus and always said that, you know, Klaus will never come to nothing. So he's going to get it in the neck one day, that Klaus. And his papa was right. Ludmilla's papa was right. So I'm going to tell you who I am. My name is Kurt Wunderschein, I think, or Kink Eisensteiner. One of those two. I'm pretty sure it's got to be one of the above. I don't have any idea anymore, because when I hit, that jars my brain so bad, and I got a file cabinet in my mind of all the people that I know on this earth, you know, and I go through it, and then all the cards get mixed up when I hit like that. So you can sort of understand the way it is. We don't have a very high-powered technical idea of what we're doing, but we have some equipment, some of them from 1939 and so on, so that, you know, the tracking devices, and that we have to use pigeons and so on. Lots of our stuff that's run by the kerosene. There's no electricity in it, but that frees up the onboard equipment there. You just burn a little kerosene as you go up, and it takes care of all the mechanical and all of the electrical equipment. And we don't have any scopes or nothing. We just say goodbye, Carl, goodbye, Kurt, whoever goes up, whoever I am. They always wave. That's what I remember, because I keep going through the same thing. And lucky this time it wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. We're gonna go. I want to show everybody in St. Louis the top of a rocket ship that we brought in a couple years, about 5 years ago, and we painted that so pretty, and nobody knew what that was, and they brought it in here at night, and there was just one piece left, and we had a construction crew, so we get rid of it. Otherwise, we get in trouble. People are landing in St. Louis. People are going to get mad if they find out. I'm not Carl. I'm Kink Eisensteiner.
Right.
Kink. You can call me Kinky for short.
I want to talk to you about what's
Adam
happening
Fußbeiner.
Now,
Adam Fußbeiner?
How long have you done your show at Double Helix?
That guy Carl Hepp now, he did that show for 5 years, that call-in talk show.
How many of them did you do?
Almost 300 shows, I think.
300 shows, so
yeah.
That's 600 hours.
About like that. Yeah, like that.
So you donated
600 hours of his time.
Yes, to Double Helix.
That's
not
right.
counting the hours of preparation.
That's right.
So it'd probably be about
4 or 5 times
900 hours of time.
Oh, easy. Many times I talked to him on the telephone, and he's looking at Newsweek and some of those other magazines that they have in the United States, and I think he even read some of their Spiegels from Germany also. See, so he was very active and very hard working. He's a German guy too, you know.
So what happened? What happened?
I think they
You're not on the air anymore.
threw him out. They threw him out.
Why? Why is Carl Hepp not on the air anymore?
Because there's a bad spot in here. I don't know how I'm going to sew that all together again. I don't think that's going to work. I tell you what, how they're going to work out. What did they do to me? What was your question again? I can't. I can only talk from experience with Mr. Hepp.
How come Carl Hepp
Yeah.
is not on the air anymore every Saturday night?
Oh, because they say you surrender all of his rights to the people over there that are running. That's like Double Helix personnel. That's the one that runs it. And she said to me, you either sign, just like the Fuhrer used to do. You point, nichts mehr sollen wir das tun, nichts mehr werden wir das haben in Deutschland. See, that's the way that she was doing with
Carl,
me.
Carl.
See? Carl, nine,
Okay.
I'm not Carl.
Carl.
My name is Joachim Milch.
It's a very serious topic we're talking
Sure,
about, Carl.
absolutely. Adolf Milch. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Now listen,
When you do something with the teeth, you come to Germany. We got good doctors there, Zahnarzt, and you go there and they fix you up, no problem. For a few thousand marks, you got it. Okay? Yeah, go ahead. Feel free.
okay, Carl.
Your ears dirty too. German people, we don't like to have dirty ears. Okay, go ahead. But
I know we're in Tower Grove Park.
is
but,
that it? We're
you
going to
know.
get picked up here too, because the fire department was here 2 days ago, and they were sort of circling around here to make sure that I'm okay.
Did you know that Tower Grove Park is one of the most crime-free parks in the city?
Is
Believe it or
that
not?
right?
That's very true.
That's right. That's just
There's a
like
lot less
Berlin.
crime here than Forest Park.
Is that right? Well,
That's
they got
very
them
true.
horses coming around here with the Polizei. They come here with the horses and they ride around.
The
Okay.
Tower Grove Park is my front yard.
Is that
I
right?
live right across the street from
Is
Tower Grove Park.
that right? That's a wonderful thing that you're telling everybody. But
Now-
nobody cares, Pete, I don't think.
Now listen.
Because they're talking about Berlin. That's a big park. That's a whole big park there. Let me tell you something. I come in here and we looked at it. We were feeding the pigeons over there, getting them ready to go back to Berlin to tell them where I am, because they don't know. They had no idea. There was nothing in the paper here, right? So how they going to know? I haven't got money for telephone. Wait. But we found out there was a violation of an ordinance in this city here, right here. It says on the sign, no swimming. And we look in the water and what do we see? Fish swimming, you see? And how can they be consistent? Is that like that Double Helix plays the no swimming, then the fish are all out there swimming away. You ought to cut their fingers off. What do they call it in English? Fingers or the fingers, what do they call? The fish fingers. Get rid of them because they're not allowed to swim here, all right? People in the city, they should, okay, take notice. Violating the city ordinance. Go ahead, Pete. What do you got? You want a cab ride? How far away do you go? I can give you a cab. I tell you, do it for very little money. Gas money plus a couple dollars.
Well, obviously, Carl is not that concerned about things. I'm glad to see that at a time of great adversity, of terrible things happening to you, that you still have your sense of humor.
Well, my name is Adolf Holtz. Actually, Adolf Holtz. It's going through. I'll come at Bob Silverman. Bob? That does not. I don't know anybody in Berlin by Bob Silverman. That don't sound right. I don't know how that's Papa. Dodo von Klipphauser. I knew a guy like that. Am I him? No. You say I'm Carl. Carl what? Carl what? Carl home?
Grass got into my coffee. Grass seeds.
We've been here too long.
Blades of grass got into my coffee. It's not good.
Okay, you're trying to be serious.
No, I'm not trying to be that serious, but
that's serious.
I want to ask you.
Sure.
Okay, pretend you're Carl Hepp for a while.
Okay, I'm him.
Okay.
What is it? Hepp.
Now, what happened with your show? I mean,
I
you're
talk
not on
for him.
anymore. You're not on anymore. And
Those people threw me off. They said I have to give up everything I got. They got to take my firstborn child.
Which people threw you off?
The people that run it, they're the Diane Heil on the board over there. They got a board from Double Helix. They say that's the company TCI said that we have to sign everything over to TCI and to Double Helix, and they call Mr. Hepp a liar. That they didn't ever say that. They saying that all the time. That's the reason they do it. Then I said, well, they said, no, that's not true. I'm a liar. And then I said to them, what about what else you told me? All kinds of things that are lies and threats. They threatened everybody. If you don't sign this, you get thrown out. We want 100% of everything that you got. Everything you own, we want that. you know. What
So you're
kind of...
saying that Double Helix,
This is Germany. It's like Germany.
Double Helix, the people that
1939.
manage Channel 21 and Channel
Yeah.
22 on
Yeah.
TCI Cable,
Yeah.
we're not talking about Crown Cable in any way,
No.
has made you give up your show, which was on every Saturday night from 8 to 10.
That's right, Pete. And they won't let me in there now to do the
And,
show.
and
They
a
said,
lot of
"That's
people,
it."
a lot of people used to watch the show.
I think a couple, 2, 3, probably.
Well, I know it was a tradition in St. Louis every Saturday night, and I'm very concerned about it.
All right. Well, I don't know what we can do about it. Maybe we can land a rocket on them the next time from Berlin. You know, if we get our trajectory just right, now we can hit pretty close now. Was that possible? We can trajectory right on that bunch over there. That's the way they solve the problems in Germany with rockets. You know, perhaps that's the way to do it. You know, if they're very vile people and vicious and ugly, well, you know, they gotta take a vicious and ugly attitude, right? I think so. Yeah, my name is Carl Foss, not Hepp, Carl Foss, or Wolf Blitzdunk. I don't know if that's possible.
As you can see, Carl has been so shaken up by what has happened to him at Double Helix, by having his show taken off, that he's gone crazy. And I'll explain what happened. Double Helix, the people that manage Channel 21 and Channel 22 in the city, have taken Carl's show off the air. And it's because...
I just remembered. I'm Ernest Gruber. I'm Ernest Gruber. That's right. I'm Ernest Gruber. I just remembered. Or Frederick Zott. One of them two. Excuse me. Don't. I'm just trying to recover from myself, you know. It's very, very traumatic thing when you hit. It's all I had. Pete, look. That's all I had. Right here in this fountain. I mean, you have pity on me too, you know. Go ahead. You were saying, what were you saying?
Listen, Carl.
Get those teeth fixed.
Wait, come on.
What?
Get those teeth fixed. Okay, listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
What?
Snap out of this. Be Carl Hepp. Come on, I want to talk to Carl Hepp. I don't want to talk to these German people. I want to talk to Carl Hepp.
Kraftsturm.
What is the nationality of Hepp? Is that a German name?
Yeah. They come from Germany. They go to Yugoslavia. They lived in Yugoslavia. I own a farm in Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia than other people.
Go ahead, Pete. I'm sorry I disturbed your train of thought. You should be in a rocket instead of a train.
Wait. I wanted to give Carl this time here on our show, Worldwide Magazine.
Yeah.
Because I'm very concerned about Carl being taken off the air.
Yeah.
Now, Carl was on every Saturday night for many years.
Yeah.
And he provided a service to St. Louis.
Yeah, he did that, yeah.
He had conversations with, excuse me, hundreds of people, thousands of people actually. I'm sorry, I'm hiccuping.
No, that's all right. We do that a lot in Germany.
And
that's a beer.
Now he's not on anymore, and I'm very concerned about that.
Yeah, I'm very sad.
I want to know, what did they tell you? What did they tell you?
They told Mr. Hepp that you either sign and give away everything you have. You know, like the Fuhrer did years ago. And they say, well, you get nothing, we get everything. You belong to the state, right? Like we belong to the organization. Just like Adolf said, well, you belong to uns, you know, to uns. And you have nothing and you die for uns, right? That's what they said, exactly like that. You have nothing, you're nobody. We're everybody, we're everything. You're nothing, you have nothing. Forever and ever. And then even then some beyond that. They take everything away from us people. You know, that's the kind of a state that is, the situation.
What are you going to do about it, Carl?
Well, we're thinking about trying to get together with a bunch of people that have been mistreated on the former group, perhaps to stand up to them and say, no, you can't kick us around. You know, just like farming, you got one army, we farm another army. Those bad people, we form another army.
Now, you have nothing against TCI Cable.
No. I don't know nobody over there. I don't know
They're
nothing.
wonderful people over at TCI Cable. I want a special message to Mr. Shocker, Mr. Greg Shocker of TCI Cable, Mr. Shocker, you're a great man. You run a wonderful cable system. And please do something to get Carl back on the air.
Well, that's what he can
Complaining
do.
to Double Helix is a waste of time.
Oh, sure.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah,
They're very
yeah.
insulated from the community.
Yeah, well, they think they got the right to take over everything because they're in a position of power, you know. So they abuse their power, and then they blame TCI. They said that's from TCI.
TCI is a wonderful cable company. We
yeah.
love TCI Cable.
So that's what they've been
and
telling
we'd love
me.
to have TCI Cable intercede, and
Well,
and if we get enough people calling up TCI Cable and complaining, maybe, just maybe, they're very responsive to the public. Maybe they'll do something.
yeah, hopefully they would.
Carl shouldn't be off the air.
9, he should be on, and I should be back in Berlin.
He should be on the air every Saturday night from 8 to 10. It's a
That's-
St. Louis tradition. Now let me tell you something, folks out there. You TCI subscribers. Your cable bill isn't going to drop now that Carl Hepp's not on the air. You're getting less for your cable dollar.
It's right.
You've been deprived of your cable dollar because Carl Hepp is not on the air anymore.
It's true, Pete, it's true. And they're gonna find out about it in Berlin too. They ain't gonna get away with it. No, you're right, Pete. We should do something. Do something. Build a better rocket and come here to St. Louis and slam into that bunch over there, you know. That's the way you straighten things out, you understand? Yeah, I think you do real good, Pete. You're right. No, he don't. No, he's under contract to somebody else.
Some strange person walking by.
He's talking into a meatloaf sandwich.
Yeah, what is that guy doing? He's
I don't
talking
know.
into a meatloaf sandwich.
I
You're
don't
right.
know. I don't know. This is a funny place. We got people like that in Berlin, but they got marching boots on, and we got all that same kind of problem. But they always want to be the Fuhrer again. They want to resurrect that.
What can the audience do to help get you back on the air?
Well, I don't know. I think we discussed it. I said, what about that Rush Limbaugh guy? He don't do nothing. He just comes and has a problem with the people, them feminists, that they want to cause trouble with the contract with the Florida Orange Growing Association, you know. Then a big pile of people come there and they fight against them.
Well, you're not
200
Rush Limbaugh.
people. I'm not Lunch Limbaugh, but I'm
Lunch
doing the
Lim-
same
lunch-
thing.
Lunch Limbaugh.
Lunch Limbaugh, yeah. Well, I'm doing the same thing for the same kinds of people. And if they don't want to support me, can't find nothing to do to help me, what can I do? Or him, whatever that guy's name. Carl Zani. What's his name? Hepp. Hoop.
Carl Hepp.
Oh, Carl Hepp, that's what his name is.
Carl Hepp
Yeah.
is hip.
That's right, that's
He's
right.
hip in a very strange way.
That's right.
And it seems
Well,
very
what can you
strange
do?
sometimes.
What can you do? You know, what can you do? That's what they said when the bombs started falling.
What did you
What
do
can you
last,
do?
Carl?
Yeah.
What did you do
I'm talking
last
about him.
Saturday night?
Last Saturday night.
Where were you between 8 and 10 last Saturday night?
I was playing games with my grandchildren. I was playing games.
You have married daughters?
Yes, they have. I have 2 grandchildren from each of my daughters.
How old are your daughters?
My daughters is 20 years old and 23.
Who they married to?
They're married to various people, both of them to somebody else.
Did you have to give them a big wedding?
Oh yeah, they had a big wedding. We had it over there in Berlin, and we had it in the Foss. We had the pictures taken there. It was pretty.
Well, Carl, I always wondered this.
Yeah.
I know you don't work.
Oh, sure, I work.
You don't have any job.
Oh, yes, I got 50, 60 jobs, yeah.
What do you do to support yourself, Carl?
I work in the bank, and I help them go there, and I have a special clip on my tie. And what I do is I hang pictures in the bank, see? But when I'm working in the vaults and so on, you got to get smart when you're working. You can't be a dummy when you work in the bank.
Well,
So I got a little clip on my tie. And then when I'm working on the wall over the piles of money, you know, my little clip comes out and it grabs a $1,000 bill. So there's a little bonus, you know, what the heck. You can't be working for nothing, right? When you're a poor artist, you need extra help. And my little clippy boo, he helps me.
Carl, let me just say one thing. Carl,
Sprech
It's one
zu
of the
mir.
few times I've ever wanted to be serious.
Ah, right,
And
okay.
I want to ask you about a good friend of yours that's no longer with us,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Andre.
Ah, yeah.
Andre, who passed away about a year ago, I guess.
Yes.
He died.
Yes, poor fellow.
Tell me about Andre.
Andre was a fine fellow. He had his faults just like Pete does, you know. Matter of fact, I don't think he had as many faults as Pete. Pete's got a lot of faults. Oh, we're talking about Andre. Okay. Andre was a nice gentleman. And we used to, when we had the cold winters, like you say, you don't make too much money. I was living by myself and didn't have any heat, nothing to eat and so on. He'd call up, he said, Carl, what are you doing? But I only said that in French. He says like, hey man, what are you doing? Like that. That's French, right? Isn't that the way the French people? He said, hey man, what are you doing? And I said, nothing. I'm just sitting here freezing to death. I got no heat and nothing to eat. He said, come on over, man, and we're going to have Marilyn. She's going to make a fabulous, she got stuff in the refrigerator. We're going to bring it out, and man, we're going to eat big tonight. Then we're going to go down, and we're going to go down in the warm room, and we're going to paint, bring a canvas. Man, I said, man, that sounds great, Andre. So I go over there, and we have a nice time when we paint. He told me all his history of his life, what he did, had terrible life, bombing. Well, what happened is sort of sad, you know. He's a little bitty guy, and my uncle, he was a head. Wait a minute, it was sort of a sad thing because my uncle, Fritz von Nagelspiegel, he was one of the gunners that bombarded in Brussels. See, he bombarded them, killed a lot of people. You know, Hansi, he was not a madman, but he did what the Fuhrer said, you know, we bomb Brussels, bombard, and killed lots of people, almost killed Andre, you know. And I said, well, it wasn't my fault. I didn't know, you know. I mean, if it was up to me, I would have said, Hans, don't do that, you know, don't do that to Brussels. But they didn't do nothing to us. Just want to control everything. Why don't you get with it and try to be a nice man? But he was a bombardier, you know, so he did all that bombardment, you know. So Andre almost got killed, you know, and after the war he came here and he was shook up like me too, you know, when you get bombs on your head, and that's the way it is, see? And when I crash here, I get all upset. He was upset when he came here. Took a while till he settled down, didn't know the language, you know, and he did all that, and he had a hard time here. So then he became a painter, and he lived in San Francisco, and he had all kinds of things. He had problems with marriages and stuff like that.
How many times was Andre married?
As far as I know, he was married twice. And
Well, his latest wife was a very nice lady.
She's a sweet girl.
Very
I
nice.
always told.
She put up with a lot of crap.
Oh, you know how that is. You know, like the German people on our family, all the women were fine.
I can remember as if it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Going to Carl, not Carl, your Carl.
Yeah.
Going to Andre's vacuum shop.
Yeah, that was a place. It had everything in there. It had monkeys and dogs and cats. And he had parakeets, and he had paintings, and he had washing machines and sewing machines and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he was a junk collector is what he was.
What did he die of exactly?
I'm not too sure. I understand, you know, a little bit too much to drink, and maybe a little bit too much happy stuff by the chemicals, you know. I think together that did not do him good, you know. So finally the body had to get up. And
That's a shame.
Yeah. I always thought he was a great producer, and he did some wonderful things for.
I'm sorry he's not around anymore.
Yeah, so
another person I'm sorry about not being around anymore, and I think about him more and more.
Yeah.
As time goes on, I miss him more and more. Is Dr. Richard Parmley.
Yes, that was sad.
He was a great man.
Yes.
And he was a
brilliant.
Yeah, he was very brilliant.
Yeah.
And well, he wasn't. He was mad at me when he died.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. Because of some things, but
he was
a great man. I'm really sorry that he's dead.
Yeah, he was a brilliant fella.
And of course,
lawyer, dentist, pilot, bon vivant, everything. You know, it's a wonderful man.
He was he wasn't a wonderful man. Actually, he was really hard to get along with.
Is that right?
Yeah, but
you're pretty hard yourself.
He was.
Look how you treat me here after the crash. I mean, what
he
if
was
I
a
would
great
have
man.
died? He would
We're talking about the dead, Carl. Come
right,
on,
that's
stop
what
the
I'm
German
saying.
crap, will you?
No, don't talk like that. We used to be
I want to have a
allies.
serious conversation.
Yeah, well, we used to be allies, you know.
Another person, the first, if we're talking about
But
dead
not
people,
now.
the third person
Yeah.
you never met, another great man that died,
Nah,
Watt Davis.
Watt Davis.
Watt
I know. I saw him on your show many a time. Yeah. It was
That
sad.
man had such class.
He did, yeah.
Everything he did was great.
Yeah.
Just being with him was an honor.
Yes, that's nice. That's nice. Well, you had a chance to give him the community to him, and him to the community. That was nice.
You know how he died, don't you?
No, I did not know.
He was making love.
It was. That's the way to go.
He was on
right?
top of a girl, and he got the big one.
They
I
said that happens often.
I hope that he was having his orgasm when he died.
Yeah, I hope
that
so,
would be the
too.
way to go, man. What an orgasm.
Yeah.
The only problem is you can only do it once.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's with most of the men hope that's the way they go, right?
Well, you
I
died
mean,
with a smile on his face.
That's right.
That's what his brother told me. He said Watt died with a smile on his face. And Watt lived with a smile on his face,
Yes,
so I
he
think
did.
it's very appropriate that he died with a smile on his
All right.
face.
You're too serious, Pete. You get down, hunker down in that serious stuff, you know.
But I'm very, because the reason I invited you onto my show,
Yeah.
which, by the way,
Yeah.
it's Worldwide Magazine.
That's
This is
what
an
it is.
unusual show. I don't know. It's,
It sure is. There was not any like that before, and never again since.
this is unusual. We're probably not going to show this show too much, Carl.
No, don't.
I
do that.
usually show new shows 4 times.
But this
But
is not
one might
getting
be
on
the,
at all.
No, this one might be on once or twice. I think 2 times is good enough for this show.
All right. I go home then. I got to get ready with my parachute.
I want to talk to you seriously.
Seriously now. Okay.
Seriously.
Zero.
Cut the crap.
Now, cut the
German
crap. Don't.
Be yourself now.
Be
yourself.
myself.
On second thought, maybe you should be somebody else.
Try to be. I'm a dull fellow, you know.
Please tell us
Yeah. Well, I
about
keep telling you.
what happened at Double Helix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The status of your show. Is your show going to get back on?
As far as I know, with this bunch, no. This bunch, no. Okay?
Well, that's very much of a shame.
Yeah, well, you know, 5 years. You've been at probably what, 8 years or 10 years?
8 years.
8 years. And that's a long, long time, and you just
Too
wonder, too long. Well, there's a time to quit. There's a time to plant, to sow, and there's a time to harvest. So I take some of my harvestings and go back to my family and say, hey, we got a lot of funny things. I joke with my kids. I do Robin Williams skits with them, and they think I'm terrible. And
How old are your kids?
I meant my grandchildren. The grandchildren, 1.5 and 5 years old, so they're pretty good audiences already. So I can work 'em.
Are you married, Carl?
Sure.
Oh, okay. How long have you been married?
I'm afraid to tell you. I was saying about 50 since 58 or something like that.
68, 78, 88.
no.
Oh, a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. Longer than I wanted, or she wanted also. She thought I'd be dead by now. It's the only way she agreed to it. She thought, this guy can't last long. He's overweight and he's got a bad heart. And here I am, 60.
You got a bad heart?
Sure.
What's wrong with your heart?
Well, I got terrible high blood pressure and leaky valve and all kinds of junk like that. But I'm going to be here till 92. What is this year? 94. Well, I'm past due dead anyhow. So go ahead, Pete. Go ahead. I want to tell you something about Pete. I said to Major, my director, I said, you know, through the years, Pete has given me such a hard time, and he's always been an antagonist.
What do you mean?
And that's the way it's been.
What do you mean? I don't think that's true.
That's true. That's the absolute truth. Everybody knows it. You better stop smoking too. And all those years that Pete has been with the TV company over there, and we've all been producing, it's been sort of like you know, an antagonism. You know how Pete is anyway. There's a sort of an antagonistic kind of thing going on with him. But then when I told Pete one night when he came to the studio, I said, I think I'm going to get canceled. The only person, I mean, this is how life goes, right? The only person that cared about my cancellation to the degree that occurred when I told Pete. Pete was the biggest shock, had the biggest shock of anybody. He was horrified. I've never seen Pete close to tears ever, and no one would believe it, but he was almost in tears and he was in shock. And I told my director, I said, did you ever see anybody get so close to tears and so upset over such a thing as losing a TV show as Pete has been? And I said, and Pete, we've never really gotten along. We've never been real close friends. But he kept saying, Carl, don't lose your show. Carl, don't do anything. Keep your show. And we talked it over, and finally we all agreed that, well, on the basis of principle, it's demeaning to treat human beings as we all were being treated over a Double Helix, that our shows were being taken away from us simply because we wouldn't sign over our lives to Double Helix, which is a shame. But this had never been happening, and that had never happened before. In fact, through all the years of people coming in and being managers for our TV station, they always denied. That was always the furthest thing from their minds, that our shows were our own, we had copyrights to them, and all kinds of nonsense stuff going on. But there was a lot of insinuation and innuendo and the use of the TCI name in order to assuage the situation. And at a meeting that we just recently held, I asked the question, is that the reason why you're doing it? Because TCI demands the contract, as they always had inferred and said? And they said no, and I said, that's what you've been saying all along. And the manager over there called me a liar. And I'm not a liar about things like that. That's what the problem is that they want to wheedle and schniddle and fool around and dunce around these people. And it's a real major shame. It's a major shame. And then as the meeting progressed, we had a meeting before, incidentally, a meeting in which the contents could be viewed and heard by the public. This is a public meeting. This is a public organization. We're a public nonprofit organization. You can find out anything you want about that organization. People support it in St. Louis. And then I was told, and the group was told, that we were being taken over for the reason that some of us, whoever it was trying to make money on their shows. And I said, well, if that's the only problem we have, we just put a clause down that says we own our own property, our own shows, we don't get interfered with as far as the productions, and then we just sign a statement saying we're not doing this for profit, we're not selling our work to anybody else that is produced for our TCI viewing area. And that should have been it, but that's what they claimed was the reason. So they keep, him and hawing around, and if they do something, they'll deny it, then they'll do something else, then they'll deny it. And the whole problem is that there's not a bit of honesty. There's a great deal of dishonesty with these people, unfortunately, and that's what's caused a lot of the trouble. And there's not a goodwill, good feeling, kind and gentle way about this whole thing. It's always been now for the longest time an antagonistic position. And I've said, well, the organization goes out and they hire a lawyer with public monies that are generated under contract to St. Louis, and they get monies from TCI to run their show. And what happens is they turn around and they hire a lawyer to fight the producers, the independent producers who are giving their time and efforts and talents free of charge to the organization, so that the community gets the advantage of their activities. Well, naturally, I mean, people are treated as if they were thieves in the night when they produce something and expect to retain their rights to their properties, and they're treated as if you're being totally unfair by not giving away 100% of what you own. They want it all. I don't care who it is, unless you're on public access, and that's where we are right now, is on public access. And Pete's been on it for the longest time, and I guess for like he said, probably 8 years that he's been on it. It's an enormous amount of time, and I think it's wonderful that he stuck with it all these years. And the community had the advantage of doing with Pete's show what they've had contact with, and individual people or so on like that.
Hi.
And yeah.
How you doing?
And so Pete's want to get other people's opinions and stuff, and I said, well, Pete, I don't. Probably a lot of people don't know us, of course, in St. Louis. Everyone in St. Louis doesn't have a cable hookup, so it's not like we're Channel 5 or something like that. But I don't mind interacting with people. As I told.
Well, let me explain to the audience why I'm on public access instead of local origination. Oh, about 5 years ago.
I'll strip down.
We were in this park, Tower Grove Park.
Uh-oh.
And we were insulting and kidding people around like we do all the time. And a security guard that was working in Tower Grove Park had been dismissed by the director of Tower Grove Park because of complaints from the park patrons. He was, you know, somebody that wanted to be like a G-man or something, but unfortunately his station in life was a security guard at Tower Grove Park. Anyway, this man threatened to sue Double Helix. It was a groundless complaint, and the suit was never actually prosecuted or anything like that.
Yeah.
But just the threat of a lawsuit was enough to make Double Helix try to throw me off both local origination and public access. Anyway, because of a pretty good outcry from the public, we were put back on.
How come you got an outcry and I didn't? It just shows to show you that either your people are outcriers, or I'm not as popular as Pete. That's right. You've been in longer.
No, I don't know about that.
You're a better show.
I don't know about
You're more handsome.
I don't know about that. Remember one thing, our shows, except for this one, are meant to be seen more than once.
Yeah.
They have a lot of music on them, and they're very fast-paced compared to this show. And they're meant to be seen more than one time, so that might help.
That's right.
Anyway, Double Helix is in my opinion, I'll be honest with you, I don't like the organization. About 2 years ago, they were successful in throwing me out of the editing studio where I used to edit all my shows. So I was lucky enough to get my own editing suite built in my home, which was it's very, very good editing, but the only thing is it's very old. It's machines from 1982, broadcast machines, but they're very hard to maintain. But anyway, I was able to keep doing the show, and now I would be happy to say that I have nothing much to do with Double Helix, but I still dislike them. And when I see them pushing around somebody else, making them go through the torture that I went through dealing with them. You know, in fact, they had a meeting with the Double Helix local origination producers and the lawyers for Double Helix last week. And one of the people at the meeting said something that I could really feel for. And they said that throughout all the time they were doing their shows, all the hundreds of hours they were working doing their shows, they never once got a thank you or even a kind word or a word of appreciation in any form from Double Helix. You know, Double Helix has things a little bit screwed up. Do you remember the Superman comics? I remember I used to read Superman comics when I was a kid. Well, they had a series in the Superman comics called Bizarro World, something like that, where everything was the opposite of the way it should be, where Superman was a different color, and it was Bizarro World. And I would describe Double Helix as Bizarro World. Everything is mixed up. Everything is just the opposite of the way it should be. And somebody like Carl, after doing a show for 5 years, what they should do is do something to make it easier for them, to show their appreciation.
They did. They got rid of my show, and I don't have to do it anymore. It's much easier now.
Instead of trying to break his nuts, they should do something nice for him. He's never asked for a penny. He's not doing this for money.
I'm accused of that, though.
And the fact is that Carl's show, which is on local origination, is or was the most popular show on local origination. Now I can tell you this from talking to people. I talk to a lot of people when I'm out in the streets because they come up to me, they know who I am, and they tell me what they think I'm working for the cable company or something, which I'm not. And I've heard lots of reaction to Carl's show. It has an impact in the community. It is something that is performing a service to the people in the community. And instead of saying thank you, instead of showing some sort of appreciation, they just treated you as if they were, which they are, a bunch of thugs. And the only problem is, instead of beating up Jimmy Hoffa or a mobster, they pick on poor innocent Carl, who's probably, he's not very threatening as a person.
Not very bright either.
And, you know, it's the only person they can push around. Why don't they go around pushing TCI Cable? Why don't they go push around Karen Foss from Channel 5? You know,
leave Karen out of it.
Well, Karen's a very nice lady,
She's
actually.
a sweet lady.
I used to work at KSD Radio when it was an all-news station, and that was a long time ago, back in the 80s. And Karen Foss had a fight with KSD, and she wasn't working at KSD at the time. She used to do the morning news on KSD Radio, and she used to come into where I was sitting every day and get me coffee. That's true. And she was a really sweet lady, so I have nothing but nice things to say about Karen Foss. She's a very, very nice lady behind the camera and in front of the camera. So
that subject just came up one time, and I mentioned what a sweet lady Karen Foss appears to be on the television.
She really is.
And Pete piped up, he says, it's funny you should mention that. He says, because I can tell you from first-hand knowledge that Karen is just as wonderful and beautiful a person off camera as she is on.
She really is. I mean, the little contact I had with her was very positive. I will never say anything bad about Karen Foss, because she got me dozens of cups of coffee. And it was like a beautiful girl getting me, a beautiful, important girl. Not only just beautiful, but important, getting me coffee, and I felt, made me feel real special. You know, some of the most important people that I've met go around making unimportant people like me feel special. I guess that's one of the things why, one of the reasons why some of these people are important, I guess, because they're nice. I don't know, because a lot of important people are assholes.
I think you're right, Pete.
Look at this, a mirror. A mirror here.
I have to get my mustache.
Let's see if we get
you're going to blow your cells on your camera if you shoot them in there.
So anyway, Carl's show is off, and it's in limbo now. We're at the, I guess, May 3rd. And it's in limbo. Maybe it'll never be on again.
It's not in limbo. They cancel me, so that's been.
Well, if it's in limbo, maybe you could change your first name to Rush. You could be Rush Limbo.
How about How about Rush
Limbo.
Hepp?
Okay, Limbo.
Yeah.
Well, I like to think that your show is in limbo because I like to see it go on again. And I know that your show has made much more of an impact in the community than any other show on Channel 21.
Can I make a plug for my show? May I? I often say that the I'm Hepp show is the first all call-in talk show on television ever in this country, and it went for 5 years from its inception. And I felt that that ought to be something that Double Helix ought to be protecting as a valuable and important thing that happened there, not because of present management, but management over the long years, you know. And they agreed they were thought of it as a valuable property, but not as far as me owning it. They wanted to own it, and I said, no way. There's not going to be a chance that you ever own anything. I wouldn't give them one penny or one valuable aspect of anything I do. Even the characters I did today, the fellows that I did, they're all copyrightable, and I keep my copyrights on those papers. And you better not start fooling around with my copyrights, Pete, because my lawyer will see you in the morning, right? So he's gonna say, no, he's never gonna use this again. He's gonna drop this in about 1,000 times, you can imagine, before he hits the graveyard. So don't believe him that he's gonna only use this once. You know he uses everything he's got, because he produces so much stuff. You know, he's the only guy that runs bird calls on his show, just as filler.
Marty is really into birds.
Oh,
and
is he?
He does some great bird calls.
Great.
Well, anyway, listen, believe it or not,
Yeah.
we've almost done this for an hour.
Is that right?
So it's going to be over.
Okay, good.
So, in summing, this has been a special show for Worldwide Magazine. I know it's different than what we normally do. And
this is
Carl, we're in Tower Grove Park, but don't get too friendly. Actually, you know, they stopped all that. They stopped most of the homosexual activity in Tower Grove Park.
That's how is that possible when we got these ordinances that say that it's all right to be a homosexual in St. Louis? How could you be picked up for such activities then, or driven out of a park?
I don't know.
I mean, how this all works, but
there's no right to be homosexual, but
not out in the park, or
not in the
don't
park.
scare the horses, like
do it. You know, they always talk about coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all these sexual activities are cool.
How do we get off
but
into
they should
this?
get back into the closet. I think they should get back into the closet. You do it in the closet. I mean, closets are really sexy. I'd like to be locked in a closet with a beautiful girl.
Right, excellent.
And having her unable to defend herself. maybe drugged or something. That'd
Oh
be
my
good.
God,
Yeah.
Pete. Well,
Anyway,
I have a feminist down on it.
Okay. Well, anyways,
Yeah.
they did like it. Anyway, we're leaving now.
Okay.
I want to say that we gave Carl this time here today because
Thank you.
I know a lot of you people, you know, are Carl Hepp fans, and I want to give you a chance to see Carl. I don't want anyone to forget Carl. I don't want Carl to go away. I want Carl to be back on there because it's good for all the other programs to have a show like yours on.
Well, thank you, Pete.
It helps everybody, and most of all, it helps the community. And it's a shame that he's being pushed around by a bunch of thugs. Now, these people aren't pushing around some big guy. They're not pushing around Mayor Freeman Bosley. They're not pushing around TCI Cable. They're not pushing around Jimmy Hoffa. They're pushing around Carl Hepp. Now, give me a break. Leave the guy alone. Let him do his show. I think jealousy has played no small part in this. That they resent that you, the guy that came in off the street, are doing a lot more to communicate with the public than these professional broadcasters. Double Helix, being a communications company, is very poor at communicating to anybody about anything. It's just the opposite. It's really sad, and I wish that the public access station and the local origination station could be run better, more for the community. A lot of events that have happened in the community, Worldwide Magazine has been there, and we looked around. Double Helix wasn't there. They were in their offices, sitting on their big fat asses, opening up the mail, getting little music videos in the mail, splicing them together, and saying that these were community shows. This guy couldn't be more in the community. And we're going to follow this and never let our audience forget who Carl Hepp is. And we hope to see you back on the air where you belong real soon. And also this is going out to the Crown Cable viewers that used to watch you out there. So
all right.
If you wonder what happened to Carl Hepp, here he is.
Okay.
So we'll see you later.
Okay, bye-bye.